How do folks, David here with another video, and I really shouldn't be doing this because I am sick as a dog, so my apologies if my voice doesn't sound brilliant, but there were some things I wanted to get off my chest so that I could rest easier. First of all, I called for a little bit of decorum in the comments section last video, and thank you so much guys. You have kept it polite. There's been no need for me to take any action. I just wanted to acknowledge that and say a big thank you to everybody. I also want to acknowledge the fact that yes, I can certainly see some frustration in some of the comments that are being left. Obviously it is difficult when you're just reading text and you know you're not getting to hear a tone of voice or body language or anything like that to see exactly how something is coming across. But there are a few comments that keep popping up and I just want to get those out of the way. Now, the first set of comments I think are coming from Team Globe. I could be wrong. My apologies if I am. The question that keeps coming up is, why are you making a flat earth model? Well, I'm not quite sure how to take that, and there are a number of variations around this question. One thing that I set out to do was to be impartial. Well, today's video, Team Globe, is actually all about you. A model for Team Globe has been requested and I'm going to have a stab at it. So the flying cake stand is getting put off to one side. This one is your video. I will cater to both sides as much as I possibly can. There's been a few comments around the fact that you can't make something that doesn't exist. Yeah, that's the wrong channel to be making statements like that on, I'm afraid. You're talking to the guy who made an obsidian volcano for a dragon to live in. The only limitation on what models I can make are my imagination, my skill level and my budget. Within that, anything is up for grabs. If you don't believe me, there's a link just up here for exactly that video. This comment is a wee bit more concerning. Why are you wasting your time? Making models is my hobby. That's like saying to somebody, why are you wasting your time collecting stamps or train spotting or restoring cars or studying the sky at night? We do hobbies because we enjoy them. A question like that, quite frankly, is, if you think about it, a little bit rude. It's almost like going up to somebody and asking them, why is your granny ugly? You just don't do it. I enjoy making models. It's not a waste of time. Now let's deal with some of the comments from Team Flat Earth. There's been a few mentions that the Earth is flat because it is mentioned in religious texts. Guys, if you have a list of references, you know, chapter, verse, if it's from the Bible or other religious texts, please drop them in the comments down below. I am certainly having a few problems with some of the dimensions on this. If I can use that as a starting point, I am more than happy to incorporate it into the model. But the big one, and the subject of today's video, is flat earth people asking for a globe model of a spinning ball that holds water without a container. Can't happen. Well, that's what I'm going to have a stab at. Now, the reason why I brought this one up, I was watching a video of Professor Dave just the other day, and he was invited onto a podcast, and he was supposed to be having a discussion which went south very, very quickly with some rapper who is part of the Flat Earth movement. And this rapper fella asked Professor Dave to provide exactly that. I am not in any way, shape or form dissing Professor Dave. He is educated to a far higher standard than me. He is a really clever bloke. He knows his stuff, okay? And he certainly doesn't need somebody like me to be helping him out. However, as a model maker, when he came back with the answer of saying, coat a tennis ball in water, as soon as those words came out of his mouth, I could tell it was the wrong answer. It's the wrong material. It's a cheat. We all know that fabric soaks up water. A tennis ball is coated in fabric. It was the wrong example to use. So I'm going to go with a different approach. And to be perfectly honest, as soon as Professor Dave said those words and I thought he's got that wrong, the answer just popped up in my mind, and I don't understand why, because as far as I can tell, it's the kind of answer that, you know, a bright 4-year-old could give. Maybe that's the kind of mentality that I have. Certainly the wife reckons I'm no more advanced than a toddler, but let's not go down there. If you think about it, common ground for both Team Globe and Team Flat Earth is the surface that we live on. We live on a rock. Parts of it are covered in water, parts of it are covered in sand or dirt or things like that, but you dig down deep enough, you hit rock. We live on a rock. So to make a globe model, maybe a rock is the ideal starting point. Now, as a model maker, if I am doing a rock formation or anything like that, I can certainly tell you that the ideal material to use for that rock formation is, well, rock. The only reason we don't use rock in our models is that, one, it's hellishly difficult to shape or work with to start off with, and your model would be really, really heavy. That's why we go for other materials. But for the purposes of this model, we're going to go for a rock. Alright, so here is our stone. Now, my apologies if it is not perfectly round, but it does at least have nice smooth shapes, and it is not container-like in any way, shape or form. Could I have made it round? Well, no, not really. I did say that this stuff was an absolute pain to try and shape, but it should serve the purposes. Now, I did take a measurement. I'll show you that right now. It is 8 centimeters or 80 millimeters. So, just for purposes of scale, from one side to the other on this Earth model, 80 millimeters equals 12,000 miles. We'll remember that when we start talking about scale later on. What else have I got? I've got a tray, empty, and a jug of water. Take a sip, prove it's not anything silly like a super fluid. Okay, I mean, I suppose it could be vodka or gin, in which case, go me. But it's not, it's water. It's holding water, it's wet. I can see it. Bottom's wet, sides are wet. That's holding water. Water on a bowl. Now, just talking about scale, we've said that 80 millimeters is equal to 12,000 miles. Divide by one by the other and we get the length of 1 mile, and that is 0.00666 recurring millimeters, or 6.66 recurring microns. Just to give you an idea on scale, a single droplet of mist or fog is around about 10 microns. So if that is covered by just a single drop of mist, the depth of the water on there is 1.5 miles. If it's covered by 2, then it's 3 miles, and the average depth of oceans on Earth is 2.3 miles. That is an ocean covered world. Oh, of course, you guys wanted a spinning ball. Hang on 1 second. Oh, try that again. Still wet. Now, you're going to start saying things like, yeah, well, it's not spinning at the right speed. To scale, that was what? 2 revolutions per second. I don't know, I wasn't timing it. Something like that. Looked about right. 2 revolutions per second, and bearing in mind that the globe rotates once every 24 hours, 2 revolutions per second times by 60 seconds times by 60 minutes in an hour times by 24 hours in a day times by 1037 miles per hour, which is the speed at the farthest point out on the equator. That means to scale, this has just been spinning at 179,193,600 miles per hour. And it's still wet. Just to put that into perspective, the speed of light, 670,616,629 miles per hour. At the equator, this little model has just hit round about a quarter of light speed. Still wet. We good with that model? And can I go back to my sick bed now? I'll catch you guys in a bit. There you go, Team Globe. That one was for you. Toodle pip.